So here's the deal with the Magtech brass 12 gauge shot shells and how I use them with smokeless powder. The first thing I do is I drill out the large pistol primers that they come with and I convert it to a 209 primer. I do that with a drill. It is a 15/64 bit, and I drill that out, and then I use a big 1/2 inch drill bit and I just use that to bevel it so it sits flush, and that works out fine. Then the next thing you need to do, since these are balloon head cases, is you need to make a seal down in there, which there it is right there. So being a balloon head case, the primer sits way above the base of the shell, which works fine for black powder because it's all going to burn, but creates a big problem with smokeless. And before I did that, I was having problems with squibs and having really inconsistent loads. And so what I do is I take a 10 gauge wad. This is their PT 1044s. I buy these from Ballistic Products, and that's one right here. And I cut the base off of it right there, and I drill a hole in it and I glue it down into the base of the shell. And I've used hot glue, I've used epoxy. Either way, I haven't had any come loose, so long as you use enough glue and, you know, really get them to stick down in there. I haven't had any trouble. And so then after that, I just take my drill bit again and I clear out the primer hole. And then it sits pretty level, and that works out pretty good. So then you prime them up with a 209 primer. I have been using 17.5 grains, 17.5 grains of red dot. I have tried unique. I've tried 17 grains all the way up to 20 grains of unique. Either way, I can't tell a difference. Works just fine. I have not patterned it yet to see how it goes, but so far as how it feels, 17.5 grains of red dot is what I like to use. So that goes right in the case. Next, the 10 gauge PT 1044 wad goes right in on top of it. After that, in the shot cup, I use a 20 gauge 1/2 inch fiber wad, and all that does is take up space in the shot cup. Then I use an 1.5 ounces. Ounce and an eighth of 7.5. I've been using Magnum shot or whatever this stuff is. It works just fine, no trouble. Then I use a 10 gauge overshot card on the top. Then I hot glue it all together. And I do have the, I'm being paged, the Cowboy Action RCBS dies, and I do put a little bit of a crimp in them. So after I get them hot glued, I put a little bit of a crimp in them, and here is the finished product here. 209 primer, sits nice and flush, a little bit of a bevel. I've used this in my double barrel. I've used these in my 1897 Winchester.
Not good.
And I've even used them in my Remington Model 11.
Problem. 1, 2, 3, 4.
That is well over 100 years old, and they work swell.
Success.
There's no overpressure signs. There's nothing odd at all. They work fine. The only trouble I had was with my Remington Model 11 is that if you don't have the glue and the crimp going on good, I'm coming, jeez, it'll have a trouble feeding.
Here we go. Failure to feed.
Failure to feed there. Other than that, it cycles fine, it shoots fine, they work great. So I've had a lot of people tell me that you can't do this with smokeless powder and brass shells. It just doesn't work, you know, blah, blah, blah. You're going to blow up your gun. You're going to blow your face off. It's going to unravel the space-time continuum. You know, there's all kinds of adverse effects, you know. Well, for me, it works just fine. And I know everybody has to put their video out there and talk about, you know, this is not load data. This is just me fucking off in my garage. Well, whatever. Take it for what it is. Works fine for me in my firearms. By the way, the 3 shotguns that I have tried these in are all 100 years old or better. My double barrel was made in 1892. Now again, I'm sure I'm going to hear a bunch of stuff about, oh, you're using smokeless in a black powder gun. Same thing. You're going to blow your face off. It's going to blow your gun up. It's going to unravel the space-time continuum, so on and so forth. But again, like I said, works fine for me. Now, to be fair, I don't make a habit of shooting these through my double barrel. I put 4 shots through it. It's worked fine. Mostly I've used them through my 1897. But they work fine. So, there you have it.